Senator Kennedy just had a field day with this leftist, unhinged law professor who absolutely hates white men, despises white men, and is accusing the Trump administration of censorship when her literal words describe what Biden did. And Kennedy called her out on her past tweets, exposing her bias, and she was literally squirming in her chair, and she even went private on Twitter after this. Let's get into the video. It was absolutely glorious. My name is Clayton Kearns from TrendingPolitics.com. Please make sure to like this video. It helps us out so much in the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, if you like to see videos like this every single day. So let's get right into it. This was a committee hearing that they held the other day, and this woman's name is Dr. Mary Ann Franks. She is a hardcore leftist, always ranting and raving against white men, white people, the patriarchy, and wow, she did not expect Kennedy to go into her past tweets, and she got feisty. She got indignant. Let's just take a look at this, and we'll pause at a couple parts, and then we'll discuss.
As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So let's set the stage here real quick before we continue. She is saying that Biden was not controlling speech and that Biden was not pressuring social media companies and news networks to publish certain stories, but the Trump administration is. Okay.
Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just
want
to clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So good.
In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy," end quote. Did you say that?
Just
Yes.
wait.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, "When the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, "by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court," referring to the current United States Supreme Court, "has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well," close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
She said, "That sounds like me. This has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact for white men." And look at the smug expression on her face. Unfortunately, this is a woman who is teaching our youth in these colleges, in these universities. May God help our young people. That person who just wrote that is in charge of educating our youth.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Okay, so she refuses to call it X because Elon Musk branded it as X, and she smugly says, I don't know what it's called anymore, but yes, it used to be called Twitter. Oh, man.
You're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question
let me
is.
show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m. Quote, "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy." Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did you
hearing.
say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
doctrine.
like you have your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this.
And she couldn't even respond. Look at her face there. He's like, your favorite feeling is anger. She says, I don't have feelings about Trump or Biden. Really? The man just read your tweets. Oh my goodness.
Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy." Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment,
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
I
Thank you.
believe that you
The
should take the
time
First
has
Amendment
expired. Thank
seriously.
you, Senator.
Curb my nausea. Wow. I mean, that was just an absolute masterclass, as always, by Senator Kennedy. Wow. Guy Relford had this to say. This was a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing on the censorship industrial complex. And this liberal loon is a George Washington University law professor. Let that sink in. According to Wikipedia, her areas of expertise and teaching include First Amendment law, Second Amendment law, criminal procedure, family law, and law technology. Thank God for Senator Kennedy, but God help us if our next generation of lawyers is learning about the Second Amendment or anything else from people like Franks. Guys, this is serious. This is very, very serious. This woman is literally probably poisoning our youth, poisoning our young people, and let's just pray to God that these kids know right from wrong. Here was another clip of her. Eric Schmidt was grilling her over the same type of thing. Let's take a look at this video because, although he did not, it was not as much of a fireworks exchange as the Kennedy one we just watched. It was pretty revealing as to her points of view, and to think that the Democrats put her as a witness here is quite concerning.
Dr. Franks, I did want to ask, you yourself in your writings, I want to ask you about it to respond, don't seem to be a very big fan of the First Amendment. You've written, and I quote, "The conception of free speech enshrined in the First Amendment reflects white, wealthy men's experiences and interests. You've described free speech advocacy as a, quote, neo-Confederate agenda. And in 2021, you published an op-ed calling for completely writing the First Amendment." Are those your comments?
Those are not entirely accurate, no. The Boston Globe piece was a thought experiment that I was invited to contribute to, and so I was asked if we were rethinking the Constitution, what are some of the ways we could rethink it? So that is the context of that op-ed.
Okay, I think it's interesting that of all the people that could have been selected to come testify about the dangers of limiting free speech and censorship, my colleagues on the other side chose someone who believes that the First Amendment is essentially a white male fetish.
The evidence of my dedication to the First Amendment is the fact that I am here defending the First Amendment, that I am defending it against a presidential administration that is at this moment threatening journalists, that is surveilling citizens, that is punishing people because of what they say, not some sort of vague allegations about NGOs or about some plainclothes speech police, actual government forces that this president and his officials are enacting. They want to jail people for their speech. They want to deport people for their speech. They want to take away people's money, their funding for their speech. That is a violation of the First Amendment.
So Trump wants to just deport people based on what they're saying. That's what she just did. That's what she just said with a straight face in this hearing. Take a look at this. The guy who just tweeted that video said, "This is the woke insanity Democrats sent into this hearing." This is her giving a speech. The U.S. was built on racial patriarchy. If you want to describe what the First Amendment is, it's not about consistent or normal principles. It's about power. It's about converging with that idea of racial patriarchy. And if you are disturbing it, wow, that is who the Democrats trust. That is who the Democrats felt like it was a good idea to trot out there during a committee hearing. And wow, I just needed to show you this, to expose this, and thank God for Senator Kennedy for grilling her, because she absolutely, this needed to be public. So if you like this video and you want this to get out there, spread the message. Please like this video. It helps in the reach. It helps in the YouTube algorithm. It helps our channel immensely. So please comment below. Let me know what you think about this lady, Dr. Marianne Franks, who once again, by the way, made her Twitter account private after this. Interesting move. I'll talk to you guys later.